Is Islam really a religion of peace? President Obama has said it is, as has President Bush, even as violent jihadis carry out terror attacks in the name of Islam.
So who's right? Well, as George Thomas reports, it's not just about fears of terrorism. Surveys show hundreds of millions of Muslims hold radical views about dominating the world.
With each new terrorist attack, the debate over the true nature of Islam intensifies.
Let's be clear, though. Islam is not our adversary.
This is a civilizational struggle between the values of freedom and liberty and radical Islamic terror.
Those on the left defend Islam, calling it a religion of peace.
Muslims are peaceful and tolerant people and have nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism.
Those on the right want to stop the flow of Muslims to the U.S., concerned about jihadists sneaking in among masses of refugees.
What happened in Paris could happen here. There is no middle ground.
But experts say there's also a much bigger debate.
When there is a disease or a virus, it can't be treated unless you identify the problem. So we have to call it what it is, and it is violent, radical, extremist Islamism.
For over 20 years, Raheel Raza, a Sunni Muslim, has dedicated her life to speaking out against what she calls the rising threat of radical Islam.
This is not an easy topic to discuss.
In her latest project, By the Numbers, the untold story of Muslim opinions and demographics, Raza warns that Islam presents a great threat.
In light of the fact that most of the terrorism in the world today involves Muslims in one way or another, and because it directly affects our lives and security, I think that we need to be able to have an open, honest, and fact-based conversation about that.
Produced by the Clarion Project, Raza describes so-called spheres of radicalization. At the core is what she calls violent jihadists like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and Boko Haram.
These are the jihadists who murder people in San Bernardino, Texas, Paris, London, Delhi, Jerusalem, Ottawa, Madrid, Nairobi.
A second sphere, Raza says, are those who support jihadist goals but not their methods. For example, while they push for an Islamic takeover, they do so through democratic methods.
Islamists want many of the same things as the jihadists, it's just that their tactics differ.
She points to the large percentage of Egyptians who supported the Muslim Brotherhood, or the Palestinians who voted to give political power to the terrorist group Hamas.
So instead of engaging in terror themselves, they use the political and cultural system to further their aims.
The third sphere, and the largest of them all, is what Raza also calls the most disturbing, the fundamentalists.
The Muslims in this circle are certainly not like ISIS, and they're not working to overthrow governments like the Muslim Brotherhood. But they do hold beliefs and practices that no doubt will seem radical to you and me.
She points to an exhaustive Pew Research project in 2013 that interviewed thousands of Muslims across 39 countries. In the survey, large numbers of Muslims, representing millions of people, thought it was justifiable to execute people who converted away from Islam and to murder women who dishonor the family.
These studies paint a picture of an Islamic world that is increasingly out of step with the modern world.
In the same survey, alarming numbers of young Muslims in Western countries also supported suicide bombings.
42% of French Muslims, 35% of British Muslims, and 26% of American Muslims believe suicide bombings against non-Muslims can be justified.
And equally shocking, Raza adds, is the large percentage of Muslims who want Sharia law, which calls for stoning of adulterers and chopping off thieves' hands, to be the law of the land.
Of course, not every Muslim believes in these things, but hundreds of millions do. The numbers are right here for all to see.
Raza says if radical Islam is ever to be defeated, an honest conversation must happen about one of the most important issues of our time.
By silencing the debate about radical Islamist beliefs, we abandon our own core beliefs of truth, free speech, and tolerance, and we abandon human rights in favor of political correctness.
Raza says the documentary is meant to start that conversation. George Thomas, CBN News.
We need to be involved in the conversation, involved with questions like, how can Hamas win an election in the Gaza Strip? How can a terrorist group win a popular election? How can the Muslim Brotherhood win an election in Egypt unless there wasn't a strong opinion in that electorate that they would run the country well? We need to look at these numbers. We need to look at what is causing radical jihadists to arise from Islam. What is it about public opinion? What is it about what is being preached in the mosque? How can we get translations of those sermons to better understand why are people being radicalized? The chilling numbers from this, 26% of American Muslims think suicide bombing is okay in some instances. That's a startling fact. If you want more information about this, we've got it for you. It's on cbnnews.com. You can see the full video from the Clarion Project. You can find out more about the Pew Center research that went into that video and how you can be a part of the conversation. So go to cbnnews.com. Terry?
Well, coming up, a major arrest in the San Bernadino shootings and a heated argument in Congress over America's visa program. We've got the rest of today's top headlines right after this.
This Christmas, bring home the perfect gift with the story that inspired audiences. Go inside the film with deleted scenes and more.
Raise them up, Lord, raise them up.
War Room on Blu-ray December 22nd. Rated PG.
My cancer started as ovarian cancer, and it kept coming back in different places. We went from everything being fine to everything not being fine. Being a Christian, there's heaven, but I'm doing this for my children because I want to be around to watch them grow up. I really needed someone who could think outside the box.
We did the genomic testing pretty early in Christine's course. What we're trying to do is find the mutation that the cancer has that we can then exploit.
If you or someone you love is fighting cancer, go to cancercenter.com/faith. Medicine and technology.
With our treatments, we've had a great success for her. She's back to living a normal life with her family.
The warm embrace of the Spirit.
I had spiritual support, a pastor on call. There's an atmosphere of hope. I want to be around to be a grandma. That's my goal.
Call or go to cancercenter.com/faith. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits. Appointments available now.
Monday. A little kindness goes a long way.
And I just collected donations for about 2 weeks.
And here, it set off a chain reaction.
No one had ever come out, fed all of them.
Plus, head to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for a Christmas celebration unlike any other. And then, a 3-year-old in pain.
She would just come to me out of the blue and say my stomach's hurting.
Is miraculously cured.
She had just held it like that.
On the next 700 Club.
Welcome back to the 700 Club. A new terrorism charge in the San Bernadino massacre. Federal officials say a childhood friend of shooter Syed Farouk had plotted terrorism before and should have done more to stop the attack. The news comes as lawmakers are demanding answers about failures in the U.S. visa program that allowed one of the shooters into the country. Caitlin Burke has the story.
Plot after plot developed between friend Syed Farouk and Enrique Marquez. One, an attack on a Southern California community college. Another against drivers stuck in rush hour traffic. They date back to 2011, but they were never followed through on. Then Farouk and his ISIS-supporting bride launched their own strike in San Bernadino using Marquez's weapons.
He has provided them with a lot of detail about the weapons, about possibly other attacks planned.
Now, 2 weeks after the San Bernadino attacks, Marquez is behind bars, facing serious terror charges. Marquez himself called 911 after the attack, identifying Farouk as the killer and admitting the guns had been his own. This kind of attack has Americans afraid. A new Washington Post ABC News poll shows only 2 out of 10 people think lone wolf attacks can be stopped. But President Obama is trying to reassure Americans there's no evidence of an imminent attack in the U.S. over the holidays.
We cannot give in to fear or change how we live our lives, because that's what terrorists want.
Speaking at the Counterterrorism Center in McLean, Virginia, the president said that changes are being made to strengthen the security of the visa waiver program. Some lawmakers on the House Oversight Committee questioned immigration officials Thursday about their inability to keep track of visa violators.
We can either tell the American people that our process and our systems are flawed and that we have missed information that is otherwise available and let them deal with that, or we can just tell our fellow citizens we missed nothing. We did everything we were supposed to do, and there's still 14 funerals in California, so you just need to get used to the risk. Neither one of those is acceptable, I would argue to you.
If we're bringing 10,000 refugees and we miss just 1%, that's 100 terrorists. It didn't take that many in Paris, and it certainly didn't take that many in San Bernadino.
Meanwhile, lawmakers want answers about why the Department of Homeland Security granted a visa to one of the San Bernadino attackers, even though she had revealed her desire for jihad on social media. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
A Brooklyn civil court judge is under fire for taking her oath of office by swearing in on a Koran. Carolyn Walker Diallo used the Muslim book as a testament of her Islamic faith. The New York Daily News reports that led to a social media backlash as people posted comments critical of her and Islam. Walker Diallo is not the first Muslim official sworn in with the Quran in the U.S. Democratic Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota did so as well in 2008. Schools in one Virginia county are closed today after a backlash over an assignment about Islam. Augusta County officials closed all schools Friday after the school district was flooded with angry messages. Parents were outraged because students in a world geography class were required to write the Islamic statement of faith in Arabic. The statement says there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Students did not receive a translation of what they were writing. The school's website says the lesson was not designed to promote a religious viewpoint or change any student's religious belief. Parents at a Kentucky school fought back last night after the school dropped Jesus from their Charlie Brown Christmas play. Johnson County school officials censored the part of the play when Linus quotes the Bible, telling Charlie Brown about the true meaning of Christmas. But the Lexington Herald Leader reports that parents in the audience responded last night by loudly reciting the deleted Bible verse during the play performance. The school had removed the verse after receiving one single complaint. Christmas is a busy time of year, especially for scammers. The hustle and bustle can give them even more opportunities to take advantage of people. That's why the Better Business Bureau introduced a scam tracker to expose popular scams and keep you from becoming the next victim. Be careful about lookalike websites when doing your Christmas shopping. They may steal your money or send fake products. Also, watch out for fake shipping emails. They can have links that download malware to your computer. There's also a gift card scam that prompts you to use a gift card to get a special deal. And the Better Business Bureau reports phone scams are big too, including fake tech support, fake sweepstakes offering a prize for a small fee, and the IRS scam when the caller tells you you're in trouble with the IRS unless you pay now.
That I'll be going to jail and agents would be coming to handcuff me and take me away. Felt very bad, very bad.
We have a link for the scam tracker showing the latest scam alerts at cbnnews.com. The Pacific Northwest is often called the none zone because most people living there claim no religious affiliation. But one church may have found the secret to reaching the unreachable. Abigail Robertson shows us that their success started when they went back to the Bible.
7 years ago, the future looked pretty bleak for Westminster Community Church, a 92-year-old congregation located in Seattle.
We started to decline at a pretty crazy rate. In fact, I published that our going out of business date was going to be November of 2011 if we didn't do something different.
The more the city grew, the more its people changed.
90% of Seattle are very secularized in their worldview.
Members of Westminster realized they had to roll with these changes in order to reach these people.
So if we're hoping to stay in business here, we need to know how to take seculars to heaven in a way that they would gladly go.
After a number of failed attempts, church leaders decided on a tactic from biblical times.
The church for the first 300 years, it really was a dinner church. And once we started to own that, we thought, well, we've tried everything else and failed miserably. Let's go try this.
Lead pastor Verlin Fosner says it only took about 6 weeks for their community dinners to make a difference.
They were just flooding at us. So they just start grabbing a hold of their friends and say, hey, this is the family dinner table for this neighborhood, and we've all wanted to be neighbors. Well, now we've got a spot to have a family dinner, and this church provides it, and they talk about Jesus, and it's actually kind of interesting, and it's not real religious, but it's very inspiring to us.
Each night of the week, Community Dinners opens their doors somewhere in Seattle and invites people to share a meal together while hearing the good news of God's love.
The one thing that I hear consistently is the peace in the room. People come in and they just go, there's a peace here, I feel peaceful.
Brendan Perko literally helped spread this gospel community by starting the Pike Market location 3 years ago. He sees the dinner table as a very effective tool for discipleship.
A lady that's been with us maybe for about 2 months, 2.5 months, she always says, well, I'm not Christian, I'm actually Buddhist, and I don't know about all this, but I do know when I come here I feel uplifted, I feel encouraged, and I feel loved.
Brendan made one of his first connections with Tulela, a man he invited in off the street.
Some days I'll come in here and I don't even feel like being here, and Brandon would guide me through it, pray with me. That's why I keep coming here, because I know it helps. It helps out. So the Lord, God guides me back to these people. Because if I'm not doing this, I'm out there doing other stuff that's not good. These people changed my life.
In a city not known for faith, community dinner churches could help change that perception. 20 new locations are planned, one for each walking village around Seattle.
We're glad you're here.
Okay. And the idea is picking up steam. Community Dinners has garnered national attention from pastors around the country, and it has even proven to be a financially sustainable church model.
$1,600 a month, and you can open up a dinner church that'll take care of 150 people a week. And so so money is really not much of an issue when it's that inexpensive.
And now they offer affordable housing and job assistance as part of their service.
Eat together, include the poor, include the stranger, and remember me, talk about me. And what better discipleship is there than when you're sitting at a table talking about Christ every week?
Verlin and his team have definitely answered Jesus' call to feed my sheep, proving that it only takes a little to reach a great amount of people. Reporting from Seattle, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Preach the gospel, use words if necessary. Gordon?
It's a throwback, if you will. If you read the New Testament, you find these references to things called love feasts. And that's what the early church would do. They would get together and break bread. Communion would be part of it, but it was also a family meal, a community meal. And everyone was equal. That was the goal of the love feast. Everyone was equal. Everyone was equal before the Lord. And that's how the early church grew. So hats off to that wonderful church, that wonderful pastor. And let's get out and be the church.